Welcome, addicts. In this video, we're going to be breaking down David Montgomery and looking at his potential fantasy outlook for 2020, giving you guys an in-depth analysis of what we expect to see from him. And we're doing this for all the fantasy relevant players in the NFL, so make sure you hit that like and subscribe button for more content like this one. You can also check out our website for free rankings and projections all the way through the top 200 plus players for multiple scoring systems. So check that out and let's get into the video. So looking at David Montgomery coming in last year as a rookie, competing with guys like Tariq Cohen and Mike Davis for touches. Mike Davis is now gone, so there's a little bit less competition, but he really only saw the field for the first couple weeks. David Montgomery really had the show to himself last year, and he didn't do much with it. In terms of his production, he had over 240 carries, which is a lot for a rookie, but couldn't top over 900 yards, 889 yards in total. Slightly involved in the passing game, 25 receptions or 185 yards. I believe he had around the 10th most red zone touches and still only ended up with 7 touchdowns. So there definitely is room to grow. The question is just how much and how effective do we imagine the Bears being this year. Their defense is most likely still going to be good, which is a positive note for the running back. If David Montgomery can take a step forward and be a little bit more efficient, that would definitely help him. And there's been plenty of running backs that have had a less than stellar rookie season and come on a lot stronger the next year. I'm not nearly as optimistic. I'm not optimistic about this Bears team in general. Nick Foles, Mitchell Trubisky, that sounds like a recipe for disaster. If I had to project how it's going to go right now, Nick Foles is going to play some games. He's going to get benched. They're going to put Trubisky back out there. He's going to do terrible, and then they're going to go back to Foles. So it's going to be a revolving door at quarterback, which might mean they be relying on the running game a little bit more. But if the defenses aren't afraid of the passing game nearly as much, then they're going to be able to stack the box. And last year they didn't even stack the box that much against David Montgomery, and he still didn't perform that well. Only 170.4 fantasy points, finished 24th at the position, and only averaged 10.7 fantasy points per game. When you look at his individual game logs here, only had 2 weeks where he finished as a top running back one in the top 12. The dark green weeks there at 8 and 9 against the Chargers and the Eagles were the only weeks. And he finished in the game against the Eagles. He only really finished up there because that was a game where he had 2 touchdowns. Other than that, you never were really happy starting him. And again, it's not like he wasn't getting volume. So we're not really projecting him to get any more volume this year than he did the previous year. It's just a matter of will he actually be able to make a little bit more headway. And it's not like they was dealing with the best offensive line either, but they didn't really do anything to address that. So a lot of this team is the same. Been a few ancillary pieces that have changes, but nothing massively changed for the offense other than the quarterback. And unless Nick Foles turns into MVP Super Bowl Nick Foles, I'm not expecting this offense to be that efficient or well run. Last year, there's actually a pretty high pass to run ratio for the Bears. They were ninth, I believe, in terms of most passing attempts, 62 to 38 pass to run ratio. Uh, David Montgomery's true yards per carry was 3.5, which is 56th in the NFL. His breakaway run rate was 2.1%, which is 45th. He did have a lot of evaded tackles, but again, that's not as indicative of something that you want to look into because he had so many touches, over 240 touches. You're expecting there to be some there, but that was kind of his game in college. That was what we were expecting. So he'd be able to shake off and evade a lot of tackles. So it didn't help him win the yards per carry category. His yards created per touch is actually 60th at 1.19. So didn't really do too much in terms of the workload that he got. Production premium a negative 23.2. You want that number to be positive. That's 69th at the running back position. So there wasn't really, honestly, anything nice to say about David Montgomery's 2019 season. So going into 2020, we're giving him a little edge in efficiency. We're saying, okay, look, second year into the league, gets to understand the offense a little bit better. And if Nick Foles can at least dial up the efficiency on this offense just a little bit, we give him a few more carries, take out the Mike Davis carries, and then give him the vast majority of the workload there. Should be able to breach 1,000 yards. Don't really expect him to be involved in the passing game too much. Tariq Cohen is still the main guy there that's going to be involved in the passing game, so we give him about the same amount of receptions and yards. And notches touchdowns up from 7 to 9. That puts him at 200 fantasy points. Where he's going in drafts right now, I mean, as a backup running back in case one of your guys gets injured, I understand the appeal. But where he's going right now, there's so many other receivers I'd rather have. I don't think I'm going to end up with David Montgomery on any of my teams. I don't think his upside is that great, even though he's getting a workload, a workhorse workload, which is something that you're looking for that doesn't typically exist outside of the first couple rounds. But I feel with just the inefficiency and the overall lack of explosiveness on the Bears offense, it's really hard to imagine that he would be able to outperform this too much. It's not like they're expecting another running back ahead of him to go down and he would get even more of a workload. So unless he sees a massive step forward in the passing game, that would be his only real path to greater upside here. So like if Tariq Cohen gets hurt near the beginning of the year and they, throw David Montgomery 60, 70 targets in 2020, that would bring his upside up a lot. So that's why we still have his upside ranking at a 3, and that's really the imagination there. So where we have him projected right now is getting slightly more carries than he had last year and being a little bit more efficient with it. But unless he gets more involved in the pass game, you're not really going to be too excited with what you have. It will end up being like a middling running back 2, high running back 3. You're never really excited starting on a week-to-week basis. And those guys don't win you championships. When you take guys in the later part of the draft, you want guys that can massively outproduce their position. Yes, you do need some guys like David Montgomery that can help you through the bye weeks, but if you're drafting David Montgomery around the 5th round, which is where he's going right now, I feel like that's drafting scared. I personally wouldn't endorse it, and that's my take on David Montgomery. So I'm going to leave it at that. But if you guys are looking for more videos like this where we break down each individual player, hit that like and subscribe button. And again, check out our website for a full list of rankings, and we'll see you guys in the next video.